Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode and the final episode of Season 1 here on our F122 My Team career mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we head into Fernando Alonso's final races of his Formula 1 career, as well as obviously, like I just said, our final race of the season here in Abu Dhabi. Championships are already decided with Charles Leclerc, the driver's champion, and Ferrari winning the constructors. So we can kind of come into this episode and just kind of do whatever we want here in terms of strategy. We can get a little bit creative. There's nothing that we can really alter and whatnot when it comes to the point standings. So we're coming into this race with kind of a fair or a carefree kind of approach basically here. And this is an interesting weekend. Apologize, by the way, for how long it took me to get this episode out, just with how busy I have been. But finally I was able to get around to recording Abu Dhabi, and hopefully we can get these episodes starting to crank out here every other day or so. I'm hoping that we can basically have a routine of doing Formula 1 on my channel in the early afternoon, and then the NASCAR part of the channel in the evening, so that way I can keep myself happy and have both of the motorsports that I love very much on the channel pretty much every day. But we come through into the Abu Dhabi race weekend. This was on the brand new patch that came out a few days ago, and I've heard a lot of bad things about this patch. Speaking of bad, that's not good. I just wrecked myself out of free practice one here, so we had an early exit here. Things were not starting off very well for me on this new configuration, by the way, of Abu Dhabi, with the two new hairpins. New Sector 3 as well kind of has a lot more of a sweeping kind of rhythm to it. But like I said, this is on the new patch, and I found out very quick the AI are very OP. Unbelievably quick now, and unfortunately I didn't change my AI in time for the actual Grand Prix, so you're gonna see the effects of what I had to deal with for this race weekend here. It might not have been as pretty as we were hoping, but you know, our last race of the season with Trackhouse, we, at least myself, will be remaining with Trackhouse next season under Justin Marks' ownership, but as well, we don't know yet so far currently what Oscar Piastri is doing, if he's going to return to Trackhouse or not. A lot of rumors of driver changes on the way here on the roster. As well, we know Fernando Alonso is retiring at the end of this episode, so someone's going to have to replace him. Could Piastri jump over to Alpine instead? But we come through into qualifying here, and it was, you know, not a very good qualifying session for me. This was kind of solidifying the issues we were having against the AI, but as well, the new configuration was quite a challenge for me actually here in Abu Dhabi. I had no confidence right here. This part of the circuit, I really struggled for pace. I just didn't have enough confidence to put the power down, and then the two new hairpins I could not get to save my career. I was pretty much every time I'm going through them, I would screw it up, and I just didn't know exactly what I needed. So we ended up qualifying dead last in a 1.4 seconds, nearly about a second and a half off of our teammate of Oscar Piastri, so we were way off. And actually, I go to the race director and I noticed now we can't actually look at the race times of other drivers, which is weird, but nonetheless, you know, not what we were looking for here in Q1. It was a very quick one for us. Went out, made two quick laps, and I had no pace. Lewis Hamilton currently fastest. He won in Brazil in the last episode for his first win of the year. Could he back that up with back-to-back wins? Let's see. Let's head to the grid.
Welcome to the Yas Marina circuit for the finale of another thrilling Formula 1 season. It's been a breathtaking year, and we end it at a track that's been the scene of many glories and heartbreaks over its history. It's time to end the season in style. It's time for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The Yas Marina circuit is made up of 3.28 miles of track, featuring 16 corners with two very long straights. DRS zones going into the heavy braking zones of both turn 5 and turn 7 offer plenty of potential for overtaking. The circuit comes with its fair share of tricky corners, which will certainly test a driver's braking management. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, George Russell, they've taken a grid penalty, and Perez, Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, and Valtteri Bottas, Norris, Stroll, Mick Schumacher, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, Joe, Golden Boy, and Pierre Gasly. Magnussen, they've taken a grid penalty. Vettel, Latifi, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. And Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box. And it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Ready to go racing here in Abu Dhabi from the grid, and we actually are up to P17. I decided to just say screw it, and we're actually trying a soft to hard compound tire. We have nothing to lose. I left 2.7 extra laps of fuel in the car because of our few fuel issues that we've been having here over the last half of the season. Our last race on Red Bull powertrains. Red Bull being bought by Porsche is actually going to, of course, have that partnership next season. Porsche is supplying engines for any Red Bull powered car. So Red Bull, AlphaTauri, and Trackhouse Racing next season will be all under the Porsche power. So very excited for that as well. You'll see basically those are going to be the three main livery changes next season with mods, is Red Bull, AlphaTauri, as well as Trackhouse. So kind of want to go slow with the modding, and we have actually potentially as well engine regulation changes coming after next season, but we'll have to wait and see as it's going to be 5 red lights here from Abu Dhabi in the season finale. Lewis Hamilton starts from pole. He leads the way down into turn one. In the background there was a Williams that had their back against the barrier. I don't know what in the world that was about, but certainly an interesting start here to say the least for one of them as we head through the first left and right sweeping section here in this opening sector, and everybody gets away pretty well. Fernando Alonso, one to keep an eye on here tonight, as this is the final time we're going to get to see Fernando Alonso in Formula 1. 22 here in this My Team career mode. Unfortunate that he's going to be gone so quick here from this career mode, just like he was in F1 2021 career mode for myself as well. He called it a career after season 1 there, and he's doing the same thing here in My Team, as now you see 3 wide. You got Leclerc 3 wide right there with Carlos Sainz as well. You see Verstappen up the inside there. Who's going to get out of this little scrap between these 3 drivers? And it's going to be, actually, I think Carlos Sainz is going to have the upper edge here. Yes, it is, the Spaniard, but hold on, maybe not quite, because they're 3 wide once again here as we're going to head down into the hairpin. Lewis Hamilton loves everything he sees because he was able to say, see you later, I'm checking out, and I'm going to go dominate this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix here and get a little bit of redemption for what happened last season in 2021 with the whole Michael Massey mess there, as you continue to see the Ferrari teammates Sainz and Leclerc wheel to wheel. And with the impending driver roster changes coming next season, could this be the final time we see Leclerc and Sainz on the same team? More Verstappen and Perez, Russell, Hamilton. We really don't know how many driver changes we're going to see. We know we're at least going to see a few. George Russell actually into the pit lane at the end of lap 1. He had picked up some wing damage somewhere. As you see, Alonso actually scrapping it out side by side with his teammate of Esteban Ocon. Here's on board with Esteban Ocon here down into turn 1. Alonso getting one more proper wheel-to-wheel battle with his teammate. We know how much Fernando loves battling wheel-to-wheel with his teammates. Absolutely going to miss one of the most well-respected drivers on the grid of Fernando here as we cut to myself going down to the hairpin here on lap 2. Obviously, as well, this episode coming after my favorite driver in real life, Sebastian Vettel, announced he's retiring at the end of the 2022 season. As you can imagine, very, very sad about that, but hope the absolute best for Sebastian in the future outside of Formula 1, and I hope maybe he can find a way to stick in Formula 1 somehow, maybe in form of like what Nico Rosberg does, kind of coming in as an analysis kind of role. I don't know, it'd be really interesting to see, but you can see that we made a move on Pierre Gasly, so we have that soft compound tire, so we can kind of make a difference here on these opening laps now. Wheel to wheel with Zhou Guan Yu here into the hairpin. This hairpin still, I have no idea what I'm doing through here. The 2 new hairpins on this circuit are extraordinarily unique, like really, really unique. They're just hairpins. Yeah, I know, it's just a couple of hairpins, but they are probably the most unique hairpins I've ever driven on any racing circuit. But you can see I would very quickly feel the effects of this OP AI in this new patch. I was 2.0, now closing in on 2.1, 2.2 seconds behind Zhou here just on lap 4 after I was wheel to wheel with him a couple of moments prior, and you can see how much I was struggling here on lap 6 on this soft compound tire, which is wearing very quick. I was regretting going onto the soft compound tire tire, as you could imagine, because now Gasly on that medium compound in the AlphaTauri is going to be able to get up in front of us, and Mick Schumacher, he is in the Haas just behind myself, ready to pounce as well here. I was struggling hard in these late laps on this soft compound tire here, and Schumacher is actually going to do a little bit of a switchback right there, slip up the inside here. I'm not even trying to fight him at this point, but I'm still up his inside anyways, but we do let him go there. He takes P15, we drop down to P16, and we know this is going to be a rough day when this was happening here. I knew I was in for a rough remainder of a Grand Prix. Here comes Nicholas Latifi. I couldn't even defend over the Goatifi here down into the hairpin, so once he was able to pass me, I lost confidence, and right there I could see just how much time I was giving up in the first hairpin. Like I said, I was struggling in the two new hairpins so much, as well as that third sector. I come into the pit lane here though at the conclusion of lap 7, and hopefully we can get the hard compound tire one-stop strategy to still work alongside starting on the softs compared to the medium. Sebastian Vettel as well into the pit lane. Fortunately, Sebastian is not retiring from our My Team career mode, so we still have at least one more season with Seb. But into the pit lane we go, and it wouldn't be a final race of the season without the team screwing up, putting the left rear wheel on. We come up behind Seb instead of in front like where we came in. So I knew now that we were by ourselves, it was probably going to be a just kind of a segment where we give up a bunch of time. I really wasn't expecting to be able to do any kind of undercut or anything. As you can see here, lap 9, Leclerc running down Carlos Sainz here now in towards the chicane, and actually Carlos locks up in the Ferrari. He goes wide, and that is going to put Leclerc up in front of him into the second position. Perez Verstappen as well, scrapping it out now. There's some teammate battles going on here, as well as how about McLaren? I think the new patch gave McLaren a really big boost in the R&D because they're running 6th and 7th, Ricardo and Norris respectfully here. Now as you can see, wheel to wheel, Verstappen around the outside of Perez in the hairpin, and then a little bit later here, lap 14, Lewis Hamilton, who's just lights out gone in front of the field, comes in, makes his first and only stop of the night for that hard compound tire. Sainz as well currently staying out, but there's Leclerc and Verstappen as well coming in just after. So I'm just running my own race at this point. The whole pit cycle had run its course, and Piastri came out 3.8 seconds ahead of me, and what was really scary was Vettel was over 10 seconds in front of me after we came out, you know, what, a second and a half behind him or so. So that was kind of telling you exactly how much I was struggling with the pace of this Trackhouse car today. There was just no confidence in this car, and you're going to see it through this section right here. This left-hander, I was losing so much time. You can visually see how much time I'm losing. I just could not get the power down, and it wasn't because I didn't know what I was doing there. It was simply I didn't have confidence to put the power down in the car. It just felt like it was going to just spin right out on me, and every time I would try, I would lose traction. So I just had zero confidence through this whole sweeping section here, and again, I just can't get the power down. I can run wide and run the preferred lane, but I just can't put the power down. It was so bad, and I was struggling so hard here now as we came through already to 10 laps to go, and Lewis Hamilton is 13 seconds out in front of Leclerc, the Monegasque driver there, and then you got Verstappen in third, Ricardo having a flawless final race of the season here. Fourth place in the McLaren, Carlos Sainz there in fifth. Perez has given up some time here. He's down in P6 and just in front actually of Lando Norris there in P7, so he might be under attack, and there you see Fernando Alonso as he comes through to start his final 10 laps in Formula 1. What a career it has been for Fernando, and we will kind of highlight some of that going in towards the final moments of this Grand Prix for him. Russell trying to chase down Ocon there for some points here now as we come through towards the exit of the hairpin. Myself on lap 19, actually going for a spin in this rough day or rough night in Abu Dhabi. Goes from bad to worse. It was really just kind of laughable at this point here. The big thing is I think we got to turn the AI down after this new patch quite significantly. I did come into the pit lane. It was one stop. I said, no, okay, at this point, let's just come in, put on a medium compound set of tires, and bring it to the end of this Grand Prix. We did go a lap down because of that, but I think we're going to go a lap down anyways, even if we stayed out on the hard compound tire. Now, I did actually see a bit of an opportunity when this was happening, and that was simply getting lapped, and that's kind of weird. Getting lapped is an opportunity here. Well, yes, it was, because I was hoping that one of the drivers that would lap me, maybe I could kind of learn something from them here, and that would actually happen here. So Lando Norris is going to be able to breeze past me, and I couldn't learn anything from Lando because he was already able to get way ahead of me by the time I got to the hairpin. But here goes Perez passing me. I said immediately get on the throttle, see if we can learn something in this hairpin. Immediately, I feel like I kind of clicked on something right there. Following Perez through that hairpin, it kind of like changed the rest of the Grand Prix through that hairpin. And then I said, okay, got to stick with him to hairpin number 2 to see how to hit that. What's the preferred lane here? And I felt like I got through here so much better as well. And immediately, like I said, I certainly felt like I had learned something for those 2 hairpins. Now for the 3rd sector, however, in that one left-hander, it didn't really help because I just didn't have confidence there, but I immediately started hitting that first hairpin so much better, and I could actually compare it to the timing with Piastri, who's now 42 seconds out in front, and I was actually gaining on Piastri for the first time in the Grand Prix. It took until the final 10 laps of the Grand Prix, but we were finally gaining here, and it helps, of course, that we now have the medium compound tire on, but even in the opening moments of being on that medium compound tire, I couldn't close in on Piastri, who was on the harder compound, but once Perez lapped me, I kind of figured out something finally, and I wasn't gaining a lot on Piastri, but, you know, most importantly, I was finally gaining something. So we had found something in the closing laps as we came through to start the final lap of the season here in Abu Dhabi. Lewis Hamilton won in Brazil for the first time of the season in the last episode, and he's going to go back-to-back. He will win in Abu Dhabi. Not a World Drivers' Championship for Mercedes or Hamilton, and no constructors for Mercedes, but still, a nice ending to the season. Alonso's in his side-by-side wheel-to-wheel scrap here with Russell actually on his final lap in Formula 1. How about that? Russell going for 8th, but Alonso looks like if he can just get into this hairpin without being side by side with Russell, I think he's going to be fine, and yes, he is, and it's Alonso staying ahead in P8. What a career for Fernando Alonso here, just on his birthday actually, literally today in real life. He's now 41 years old, but I mean, Fernando Alonso, the 2005-2006 Formula 1 World Drivers' Championship, champion, 32 race wins, 98 podiums. Unfortunately, could never get on the podium here this season in our My Team career. 22 poles. What a career it was for Fernando Alonso, and he rounds the final corner for the final time for an 8th place respectable finish here in Abu Dhabi. Fernando Alonso ends an incredible career here in Formula 1 now, as we're going to go on board with ourselves and on board to the team radio. Sorry guys about tonight, you know, it wasn't meant to be, but we learned a lot this year, and I think we're not going to be at the top of the grid next season. We're still going to be at the bottom, but we certainly set ourselves up well for next season. Thank you for the support all year long. There you hear myself on the radio as we cross the line for a dead last finish here in Abu Dhabi. It was, I don't even know how to describe this Grand Prix. It wasn't a good one. It wasn't pretty. Sebastian Vettel, driver of the day. Let's head to the podium celebrations for the final time this season in Abu Dhabi.
It's been a roller coaster season, but they can go into the winter with their heads held high after an emphatic victory here today. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take the top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz all up there on the podium, but Hamilton really setting himself up well going into, I think, Season 2, and he could be a legitimate threat to become an 8-time world champion here, I think. And I think Leclerc has kind of fallen off. He's kind of got nerfed a little bit here late in this season, so I don't think we're going to see the tear that he went on in Season 1. But obviously, we focus in on Season 2 now at this point and just hope we can put together a better season. And now, you know, we have adapted all of the parts in this car that we've needed to adapt for Season 2, but we haven't really been able to go much further than that. We've adapted the part, but we haven't really been able to upgrade the car, so that's a little bit of a concern. Now, my expectations going into Season 2 are pretty straightforward in terms of where the car is going to stack up for the first Grand Prix. Many Grand Prix, of course, 22 once again, starting in Bahrain, but my kind of prediction is we're going to still be at the bottom of the grid, but I think we're going to be a lot closer with the gap to the midfield. So really, the expectation is we're going to start off slow, but we're going to be bringing in a lot of money to bring some personnel upgrades and department upgrades, and that is going to allow us to increase build times and as well as the durability or the quality control. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity, although I think, like I said, my prediction is we'll be starting still towards the bottom, but there's going to be a lot more potential next season for us to be able to make larger gains and quicker gains. So I feel like the goal really is by mid-season of Season 2 to be in the midfield fighting consistently in the top about, I would say, top 15 consistently. If we can maybe get the odd points finish here and there, that's kind of the goal where I want to be by mid-Season 2, and it's all about that first half of Season 2 of building our team up to that point. So I think it's a legitimate possibility. So in the next episode, we will be doing the off-season episode, going over all the roster changes, a few new liveries, and the R&D stuff as well. There will be quite a bit to go over there. And of course, if you enjoyed, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for the support here in Season 1 of this F122 My Team Career Mode. It really was a blast. You know, we had our ups and downs. We had 2 points finishes, with the first one coming at our team's first home race in Miami, and then we had one in Mexico after a wild Grand Prix there. So 2 points finishes, a few mechanical failures here and there. A couple of the trophies actually show finishes where there was actually mechanical failures, so we had more than actually 3, and as well DNF in our home race in Canada, Singapore as well. But that's going to do it for myself. I will see you guys in the next one for the off-season video, and then we kick off the season in Bahrain. So thank you for watching. Have yourselves a great day, everybody.